When it comes to net zero, is your company all talk and no trousers? The UK government have set a target for the UK to be net zero by 2050. If we are to meet this, we need to get our arses in gear. So what is net zero? Net zero is the balance between the amount of greenhouse gas emissions produced and the amount removed from the atmosphere. By achieving net zero, we could limit the potential of global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius and avoid the worst impacts of climate change. But it's not just good for the environment, it's also good for your profitability. It can generate cost savings and enhance your business's reputation with your customers, employees, investors, and supply chain, as well as boosting sales. So where do you start? Firstly, you will need to have a robust, repeatable, and comparable carbon footprint covering all your business's scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions, including significant supply chain. Then, you need to get your A.R.S.E in gear. A. Avoid emissions. R. Reduce emissions. S. Substitute emissions. E. Emissions offset. Step 1. Avoid emissions. What emissions could you potentially avoid? Could you introduce an element of home working to reduce employee commuting, or reduce business travel by utilising online meetings? Or could you even change the detergents you use in your processes to low temperature versions? Step 2. Reduce emissions. Once you've looked at avoiding emissions where you can you reduce the emissions left? Can you ensure lights are turned off when not needed? Does your office need to be so warm? Can you install variable speed drives on key equipment or improve aerodynamics on your fleet? Does your management system enable you to proactively maintain your machinery to ensure it is running as it should instead of waiting for it to go wrong? Can you reduce the amount of waste your business produces? Have you swapped those fluorescent lights for LEDs? Step 3. Substitute emissions. You've reduced your emissions as far as you can. Now, can you substitute any of the remaining emissions for a more sustainable option? You can do this by moving your electricity to a green tariff, installing solar panels, installing a combined heat and power system, or changing your company fleet to electric. Step 4. Emissions offset. Offsetting emissions means to compensate your residual emissions by funding an equivalent saving or carbon capture elsewhere. Only once you have successfully avoided, reduced, and substituted your emissions should you then explore emissions offset. This is a very last step and should only be considered once you've completed the previous 3 steps. Not all offsets are created equal, so it's important that you have a robust offset strategy in place to ensure you only purchase offsets that are accredited and align with your organisation's values. How can sustainable footprints help you meet your net zero target? Sustainable footprints will guide and support you through the process, starting with a gap analysis to examine what you already have in place and developing a roadmap that you can follow utilising our combined resources. We can then calculate your carbon footprint, ensuring that it is robust, repeatable, and comparable, before moving on to develop your carbon reduction and offset strategy, supporting the implementation of identified carbon reduction measures, including purchasing carbon offsets. Visit our website at www.sustainablefootprints.co.uk/net0 or email info@sustainablefootprints.co.uk to find out how we can help you achieve your net zero goal. Sustainable Footprints, helping you get your arse in gear.